actually be a good habit to have, and starting early can really pay off. Here to explain, please welcome President and CEO of First Service Credit Union, David Bleazard.
Hello. How you doing?
You know, we kind of skipped a couple of generations of teaching people about money. Our parents or grandparents knew about money because that's all they had. And then I came in that generation with, Mom, all you got to do is sign your name on a piece of paper.
Oh, right.
And then now, of course, our kids see this plastic thing go in a machine and money comes out miraculous.
Right. It's either the card or the parent that's the ATM, right?
Yeah.
We didn't learn anything in school about how to treat our money well. And you know, the interesting thing is that the statistics show that we're not saving as a country, and we're not talking about these things in our family, and we need to.
Yeah, well, we're not saving, but Social Security will take care of us, won't it?
Yeah, no, not really.
But it's a fallacy or a myth that a lot of people have.
Well, I think that there are questions about the future of Social Security, and I think it would do us all well to learn good habits early and learn how to start saving, and we can make it fun.
Yeah, because Social Security can supplement your income. Okay, but we got to start early. We saw what happened when people didn't understand finances over the last few years, and we got into real trouble in this country. Let's start out with, as early as toddlers and young children, you can make saving money fun.
Absolutely, and in my household, we have this little formula, okay? And so I brought out these 3 jars here. So save, I get my children to save 50% of everything they get. Okay.
So they get an allowance.
Right.
Okay.
Or if they're working or if they have jobs around the house.
Because you have, like, how many, 20 boys?
I have, well, almost.
Yeah,
6.
right. You have six boys.
6 boys, right? And the other is to share. So maybe you want to save for, you know, the church and donate a tithe to the church or to those in need. And that's 10% we usually do in our house. And then, you know, spend, right? So we can have a great time spending what's left.
Yeah.
And teaching your kids to do this early and often, that's the habit that they'll develop, and it'll last a lifetime.
Right. And the great thing about this is it's visual. You can have envelopes as well, but that jar is something that reminds them. And I love that point of teaching them some charity, too, and goodwill in there.
Right.
So a number of lessons that can be taught there. All right. The other thing is having the savings goals charts.
Right. Right. Okay, so we have a couple of fun charts here. Right? And so what I try to do is I try to set up just a fun way. If you have a really young child, this chart right here, you can say, okay, what are you trying to save for? And when do you want to do this? And then they can mark off each milestone as they save the money until they reach their goal. This can also work for teenagers, too. I have a bunch of those.
Yeah. And you talk about those savings goals, matching contributions.
Oh,
you can early on say,
yeah,
we'll match if you save. So it gives incentives to save.
Absolutely. And we've done that with our children. Maybe they want an expensive, you know, electronic gadget, and it'll take them a while to get there. Well, you can help them see the light at the end of the tunnel by matching some of their saved funds.
Yeah, and then, of course, the great thing about that is, like I've already done with my son, you take him to the bank and say, all right, look at what you have in there. Do you really want that thing?
Right.
And of course, my son looked at me and said, no, not that bad. Let's use your money.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you're the ATM,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. All right. And so when children get a little bit older, talk about what you all do at your credit union to first encourage kids to open their own account, take some responsibility, and then, of course, when they get older, when they actually have that account, that they can see how the banking system works.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you bring your children into the credit union, we will sit down and we will spend some time with them, just like we did with your son Duncan. And we will teach them about our 2 accounts. We have an M3 account for our young savers, and for our teenagers, we have Elements teen checking and teen accounts. And you can earn, as you save, you can earn rewards for pizzas and movie tickets and so forth. But we can help establish just some very simple basics about their account and how to handle it.
Which later becomes second nature to them.
Right.
And I love this point here. You're like, let your child make mistakes now. It'll cost them a lot less than it will later.
Yeah, and you know, that's hard to do as a parent, right? To let your child do something that's not in their best interest, right? But they'll learn from that mistake.
My mother, when I went off to college, my dad was in banking, and she would not let me open an account at his bank. She said, no, because there would be no overdraft protection. That's all on you. Right? And sure enough, she did. If I got into trouble, she's like, you know. So those are lessons that need to be learned. And the biggest thing is, I think we don't talk about money with our children. There are arguments about money, but then just talking in general about money. Letting your kids see, this is called an electricity bill. How many of you went off to college, got your first apartment, and went, why are the lights not on? because you have to go get that. But letting them see what it takes for you to live.
Yeah, absolutely. What we know is that we are much more liable to talk about the dangers of drugs and alcohol, or to talk about other community things, and a lot less likely to talk about money.
Yeah. All right. We were talking about how we skipped a couple of generations. We have Valerie, who's a grandmother, Kristen's her daughter, and her grandchildren Emma and Mackenzie with us this morning. And you have passed down the lessons that we're talking about here. What have you done with your money?
Well, I started out as a youngster like them, of course, and my mother taught me to keep my money in envelopes, and we kept it in the refrigerator because she said that way if a thief broke in, he wouldn't find our money.
And that way you also had cold, hard cash.
We did have cold, hard cash. So you had to think about it before you put it in your purse or your hand to go spend it. So we, too, had the bank account where we took our cold, hard cash to the bank, put it in there, had the cash on hand. So I taught my daughter. And as we're sitting here today finding out that you're here, it's like, oh, my gosh, she's doing the same thing with her girls.
Yeah.
And
So, girls, are you like, do you think twice about spending your money on things like toys and stuff now?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah, because you know you can spend your stuff on toys, but you still can eat and have a place to sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. If you'd like more information on First Service Credit Union, call 713-676-7777, 713-676-7777, or call the center at 800-678-5197, 800-678-5197. Someone is standing by to answer your questions. For example, comparing a credit union to a bank. They also take care of home loans, consolidation of your loans, all those types of things. Anything that have to do with your money, they can handle it. You can also visit them online at fscu.com.